I absolutely love this one. To me, it possesses all the things I loved about the 90s. The anything goes low budget actioneer, that's my shit. Plus, Corey Haim and Alan Thicke. And one of the best explosions in any movie ever made. Using footage from Rock and Roll High School and Rock and Roll High School Forever and, an immaculate miniature. 1996's Demolition High was directed by Jim Wynorski of Chopping Mall and Stormtrooper fame. Ooh, Stormtrooper. Be sure to subscribe to stay notified about that one. And as I said, this movie rules. Having probably the best first 10 minutes in any film ever made. Here's a quick version.
Sit down. I hate cops.
These Die Hard ripoffs or, one-offs were pretty popular at the time. And it's nice to see it done on such a minuscule budget. And with Alan Thicke. The late 90s were hard on Haim, especially 1996. He was getting sued by a few companies for varying reasons, and his addiction seemed to be winning the battle. Even the director stated that he could see the destructive path that Haim was on at the time. And, that he had to hire a babysitter to keep him in line on set. I don't know what he means by babysitter. I'm assuming, an assistant or something, but as we all know, Haim would soon conquer those demons in true Haimster fashion. But it can't go unnoticed here. Really, Haim doesn't look like he's in the best shape, and he doesn't seem to care much about the overall film, but, the natural charisma that he has is natural charisma, and it all still works. It's just one of those films that, you can't take too seriously. I think this one will get a resurgence at some point. It's the perfect midnight movie, and I can almost see a theater full of Corey Haim drag queens yelling at the screen, "Hey, you guys, freeze!" The film was followed by a sequel, miraculously, directed by Kevin S. Tinney of Night of the Demons, Witchboard, and The Cellar fame, starring some of Tinney's most trusty regulars.
Meet college student Lenny Slater.
Why don't you try a catcher's mitt?
Oh, thanks.
Trouble has a funny way of following him around.
Slater, stay right there.
Now, he's about to take a field trip.
All right, so where are we going?
We're going to the water and power plant.
That's a real trip.
There's a busload of college students at the front gate. Hey, check that out. It looked like an AK-47.
The late 90s gave us multiple sequels from the Coreys as a duo, and, they had a few solo adventures. The Haimster, well, he gave us some standout horror and comedy performances all throughout, but he also starred in a few sequels, giving the guy legit franchises to work with, even though, none of them really made it past a single sequel, but it shows a lot as far as the Haimster's popularity goes. I really wish that these little franchises went further than they did. When it comes to the Haimster, I'm speaking mainly of Fast Getaway, the Demolition films. And yeah, Dream a Little Dream as well, because I still want a part 3. But while, Dream a Little Dream 2 was a much lower budgeted sequel, a B movie, if you will, it was drastically different than the original. Whereas, Fast Getaway 2 and Demolition University, well, we got sequels that feel like they belong. And, for as low budget as the Fast Getaway series was, they were both done very well and overall should have been released theatrically. In fact, I think that was the plan for the original. The same cannot be said here about the Demolition films, though. Although they're both a lot of fun, they're squarely secured in the familiar B-movie video store late night cable schlock that ruled the airways and ruled my overworked imagination in the 90s. Proudly so. The original was directed by none other than immortal B-movie maestro Jim Wynorski, and the sequel by legendary Kevin Tinney. And with the sequel here, with the legendary Kevin Tinney, he brings along his brother, longtime composer, his brother Dennis, for another one of his iconic scores. And we also get some familiar Kevin Tinney faces alike, with Witchboard's Todd Allen and Witchboard's 2 Amy Dolans. I'm just gonna leave this picture here for a bit. And we can't forget the Hamster returning as the kick-ass mischief-making Lenny Slater. This time, finding himself foiling a chemical weapons scheme when he sneaks onto a college field trip to avoid a dude bro ass whooping. And it's then, at the water and power plant where they plan to poison everything, that things really start to feel demolition-y. Have some issues with the film, of course, but it's a good time indeed. Hell, we even get a little kind of redemption arc for Lucas early on. Remember in Lucas, he goes out for the long pass and gets his ass kicked? Well, of course, here, Lenny is like a football hero or something. It is college. And I love this scene. You know, it always reminds me of Lucas, and it pays off at the end of the movie. Yeah, I mean, he missed the ball, but he definitely got that ass.
Oh my God!
There's no real recurring characters here or anything. Well, according to IMDb, the general character is once again played by Dick Van Patten. Wait, why is it beeping out when I say Dick Van Patten? Dick Van Patten. That's weird. Also, IMDb says that Chris Evans auditioned for the role and was considered before Hamster came back. I'm guessing there was some issues there. I don't know. Couldn't find anything on it. Luckily for us, Steve Jankowski, the writer, is back, and you can tell. You know, there's a lot of hallmarks here. And for Demolition University, well, we basically get the return of like an older Lenny, and he finds himself in another once-in-a-lifetime dangerous situation involving his academic endeavors. But they kind of tie things together, sort of, mainly with this one line.
It looked like an AK-47.
How would you know?
My dad's a New York cop.
Oh, does that make you a gun expert?
No, I've done some shooting, all right?
Also, man, I love this mid-90s look from the Hamster. That kind of heavy makeup grunge look. Absolutely love it. Felldog went through a similar kind of look too. Although, you know, that kind of seems to be a point of contention here for people. I see a lot of things online where they're saying that the Hamster looks drugged up and looks like he's not doing well or whatever. But, I mean, why focus on the guy's demons? He's giving a solid performance here overall. Even though I think, yeah, it could have been stronger, but we're dealing with a B movie here, you know, here it's straight up. They're not trying to hide it. And it's one of those cable action kind of movies, you know what I'm saying? Overall, who cares? It's a fun time, and the Hamster's doing a good job. But this was something that kind of bled over to the film's promotional items. I mean, even like the film's actual movie cover here, the original poster and the original screeners and whatnot, like this one. Well, you get the Hamster in all of his glory. What they did later on the DVD, though, I don't understand at all. What the hell is this? That is literally less. That is less from License to Drive. What the fuck?
Okay, Gentry, send him over.
Not so fast, Sergeant. This is supposed to be a trade.
Well, we'll hand over the gas when he's over here with us.
Negative, soldier. It's not the way it's going to be.
We also get a solid performance from Robert Forster, who fits right in here, and he's just easily outacting everybody. I'm guessing that was part of the Demolition film universe. You know, you got to have Corey Haim playing off an older guy, you know, and an action-packed school setting and whatnot, shenanigans and stuff. You know, I guess he needs an older, more established character to play off in these films. I don't know. Something we also saw in the first series of the film with Alan Thicke, and this also happens in the Fast Getaway series, of course. But with Demolition University, I mean, we get Robert Forster starring in his last low-budget B-movie of the 90s. And basically from there on out, you know, as he was also cast in Jackie Brown that year, which was released and blew up. It basically turned him back into an A-list star, rightfully so. In fact, Kevin Tinney has stated how Robert Forster invited him to a screening of Jackie Brown and that he was always a class act regardless of his status or whatever. Rest in peace, Robert Forster. You, sir, are a legend. Oh, and how can I forget the random henchman? Like the main villain, his right hand man is overplayed by goddamn Dinpak from Silicon Valley, and the masked henchmen are apparently voiced by Norm Macdonald from Screwed.
The students have left the bus and are heading into the plant.
Give me the money!
I do love this film, but at times it feels like it was just a script laying around, like some random action script, and they just turned it into Demolition University. and just kind of made it a sequel, added some stuff with the Hamster. I mean, once the film gets going, after like the Corey's introduction and whatnot, a lot of the screen time here is spent on the bad guys and the hostage negotiations and stuff. A lot of really long, drawn out scenes with like just war banter and general stuff and walkie-talkies, and it's a little droll, you know. It turns into more of just a regular by the numbers action movie, and then like Corey Haim kind of pops up here and there and does some stuff, you know. It is kind of strange, and I do want more Hamster in this flick overall. Like, a lot of scenes are just very drawn out and seem to last too long and really go nowhere, and it's just intercut with Corey Haim like running away or so. This happens a few times. Also, the film is nowhere near as violent as the first one, which is a bummer. I'm guessing that's because Jim Wynorski didn't direct this one, although he's listed as a producer. But the film does deliver an entertaining 90s Hamster actioner, the kind of film that I really, really miss. I mean, in the end, Hamster runs out of an exploding a building holding a volatile container of chemicals and simply just ducks next to the building that's exploding and somehow makes it. Jim Wynorski, the director of the original, well, he commented about how it was working on that film with Corey and the troubles that he had with him. He said that he saw him heading down a bad path. And, you know, I kind of feel like when you watch that film, Demolition High, you can kind of see it on his face that he was having a rough time. However, here he looks much better, honestly. And director Kevin Tinney, well, he had this to say about working with Corey Haim. He said in an interview with JoeBlow.com, "I know a producer who worked with Corey Haim just before Demolition University, and another producer who worked with him right after. They both had problems. But Corey was right as rain with me. He got along well with the rest of the cast and the crew, and he showed up prepared. He knew his lines, he hit his marks, and his acting was always effortlessly natural." I'm telling you, man. He said there's also a reason he was an up-and-comer at one time. Just go back and look at Lucas. The kid can act. Couldn't agree with you more, Mr. Tinney. Demolition University is nowhere near as campy as the original Demolition High, but it is worth the watch for any fans of good B-movies or formulaic cable schlock from days past. Or, you know, for any hardcore Hamster fans alike, or fans of Amy Dolenz. Just gonna leave this picture here again for a little while.